Sit there calmly eating muffins when we are in this horrible business I can't make out. You seem to me to be perfectly heartless.
You can't expect me to eat them in an agitated manner. No. The butter would get all over my cups. No, indeed, when one eats muffins, you must eat them quite calmly. It's the only way to eat them.
I say your eating muffins at all under the circumstances are heartless.
Look, when I am in really great trouble, indeed, as anyone who knows me will tell you, I eat food and drink. I refuse everything except food and drink. At the present moment, I am unhappy, so I am eating. And besides, I am particularly fond of muffins.
That is no reason why you should eat them all in that greedy way.
I wish you would have tea cake instead. I don't like tea cake.
I suppose a man may have his own muffins in his own garden.
But you have just said it was perfectly heartless to be eating muffins.
No, I said it was heartless of you under the circumstances.
Yes, that may be, but the muffins are the same.
Algie, I wish to goodness you would go.
You can't possibly ask me to go yet. I haven't had my dinner yet. Nobody goes without dinner except for vegetarians and people like that. Besides, I've just made arrangements that Dr. Chaucer will be christened under the name of Earnest at 6:45.
The sooner you give up that nonsense, the better. I have made arrangements with Dr. Chasuble this morning to be christened at 5:30, and I will certainly take the name of Earnest. Gwendolyn would wish it. We can't both be christened Earnest. That's absurd. Besides, I have a perfect right to be christened if I want. There is no evidence whatsoever that I've ever been christened, and I find it very probable that I never was, and so does Dr. Chasuble. You, on the other hand, are completely different. You have been christened.
Yes, but I haven't been christened in years.
Yes, but you have been christened. That's the important thing.
Quite so I know my constitution can stand it. If you're unsure about your ever having been christened, I dare say I wouldn't venture on it now. You can hardly forget that someone very closely related to you was nearly carried off this week in Paris by a severe chill.
Yes, but you said yourself that a severe chill was not hereditary.
It used to be, I know, but I dare say it is now. Science is always making these wonderful improvements in things.
Nonsense. You were never talking anything but nonsense.
Jack, you're at the muffins again. I wish you wouldn't.
I hate tea cake!
How on earth then can you allow them to be served up for your guests? What ideas of hospitality you have?
Algie, I don't want you here. I want you to go. Why don't you go?
Because I haven't finished my tea yet, and there's still one muffin left.
They did not follow us at once into that house as anyone else would have done. Seems to me they have some sense of shame left.
They have been eating muffins. That looks like repentance.
They don't notice us at all. Couldn't you cough?
But I haven't got a cough.
They're looking at us. What effrontery.
They're approaching. That's very forward of them.
Let us go in. Preserve a dignified silence.
Certainly, it's the only thing to do now.
This dignified silence seems to produce an unpleasant effect.
A most distasteful one.
But we will not be the first to speak.
Certainly not.
Mr. Worthing, there's just one question I would like to ask you. Much depends on your reply.
Gwendolyn, your common sense is invaluable. Mr. Moncrief, kindly answer me the following question. Why did you pretend to be my guardian's younger brother?
In order that I might have an opportunity of meeting you.
That seems a satisfactory explanation, does it not?
Yes, dear, if you can believe him.
I don't. But that doesn't affect the wonderful beauty of his answer.
True. In matters of grave importance, style, not sincerity, is the vital thing. Mr. Worthing, what explanation can you give me for pretending to have a brother? Was it in order that you might come up to town to see me as often as possible?
Can you doubt it, Miss Fairfax?
I have the gravest doubts upon the subject, but I intend to crush them. This is not the time for German skepticism. That certainly seems a satisfactory answer. Mr. Worthing seems to have a stamp of truth upon it.
I'm more than content with what Mr. Moncrief has said. His voice alone inspires one with absolute credulity.
Then you think we should forgive them?
Yes. I mean, no.
True. There are principles at stake that one simply cannot surrender. But which one of us should tell them? The task is not a pleasant one.
Couldn't we both speak at the same time?
What an admirable idea. I speak at the same time as other people nearly all the time. You will take the time for me.
Certainly.
1, 2, 3. Your Christian names are still an insuperable barrier. That is all.
Our Christian names.
Is that all?
But we're going to be christened this afternoon.
For me, you are prepared to do this terrible thing?
I am.
For me, you're willing to face this fearful ordeal?
I am.
How absurd to talk about the equality of the sexes. Where questions of self-sacrifice are concerned, men are infinitely beyond us.
We are.
They have moments of physical courage of which we women know nothing about.
darling.
Darling.
Lady Bracknell.
Good heavens!
Gwendolyn, what does this mean?
Merely that I am engaged to be married to Mr. Worthing, Mamma.
Come here, sit down immediately. Hesitation of any kind is a sign of mental decay in the young, of physical weakness in the old. Apprised, sir, of my daughter's sudden flight by her trusty maid, whose confidence I purchased by means of a small coin, I followed her at once by a luggage train. Her unhappy father is, I am glad to say, under the impression she is attending a more than usually lengthy lecture by the University Extension Scheme on the influence of a permanent income on thought. I do not propose to undeceive him. Indeed, I have never undeceived him on any question I would consider wrong. But of course you will understand that all communication between yourself and my daughter must cease immediately from this moment. On this point, as indeed on all points, I am firm.
I am engaged to Gwendolyn, Lady Bracknell.
You are nothing of the kind, sir. And now as regards to Algernon. Algernon,
Yes, Aunt Augusta?
may I ask if it is in this household that your invalid friend Mr. Bunbury resides?
No, Bunbury doesn't live here. Bunbury is somewhere else at present. In fact, Bunbury is dead.
Dead? When did Mr. Bunbury die? His death must have been extremely sudden.
I killed Bunbury this afternoon. I mean that Bunbury died this very afternoon.
What did he die of?
Bunbury? Oh. He was quite exploded.
Exploded? Was he the victim of a revolutionary outrage? I was not aware that Mr. Bunbury was interested in social legislation. If so, he is well punished for his morbidity.
What I mean to say is that Bunbury was found out. The doctors found out that Bunbury could not live, and so Bunbury died.
He seems to have had great confidence in the opinion of his physicians. I am glad, however, that he made up his mind at the last to some definite course of action and acted under proper medical advice. And now that we have finally got rid of this Mr. Bunbury, may I ask Mr. Worthing, who is that young person whose hand my nephew is now holding in what seems to me a peculiarly unnecessary manner?
That lady is Miss Cecily Cardew, my ward.
Yes, Cecily and I are engaged to be married, Aunt Augusta.
I beg your pardon.
Mr. Moncrief and I are engaged to be married, Lady Bracknell.
I do not know whether there is something peculiarly exciting in the air of this particular part of Hertfordshire, but the number of engagements that go on seem to be considerably above the proper averages that statistics have laid down for our guidance. I think some preliminary inquiry on my part would not be out of place. Mr. Worthing, is Miss Cardew at all connected with any of the larger railway stations in London? I merely desire information. Until yesterday, I had no idea there were any persons or families whose origin was a terminus.
Miss Cecily Cardew is the granddaughter of the late Mr. Thomas Cardew of 149 Belgrave Square, Southwest, the Jervis Park, Surrey Dorking, and the Spore in Fifeshire, northbound.
That sounds not unsatisfactory. 3 addresses always inspire confidence, even in tradesmen. But what proof have I of their authenticity?
I have preserved the court guides of the period. They are open to your inspection.
I have known strange errors in that publication.
The family solicitors are Messrs. Markby, and Markby.
Markby, and Markby? A firm of the very highest position in their profession. Indeed, I am told that one of the Mr. Markbys is occasionally to be seen at dinner parties. So far, I am satisfied.
How generous of you, Lady Bracknell. You will also be pleased to know that I have in my possession certificates of Miss Cardew's birth, baptism, whooping cough, registration, confirmation, vaccination, and the measles, both the German and English varieties.
A life crowded with incident, I see, although perhaps somewhat too exciting for a girl so young. I myself am not in favor of premature experiences. Come, Gwendolyn, the time approaches for our departure. We have not a moment to lose. As a matter of form, Mr. Worthing, I had better ask if Miss Cardew has any fortune.
Oh, about £130,000 in the funds. That is all. So good to have seen you, Lady Bracknell.
It's Mr. Worthing. £130,000 in the funds. Miss Cardew seems to me a most attractive young lady now that